that was COMAsolo number 3 at 132. You notice I raised the tempo because tempo affects beat. In other words, something that works good at 116 doesn't necessarily work good at 132. And what it forces you to do is kind of, if you want to use that idea again, it makes you reinvent your idea. All right, and then that leads to inspiration because reinvention just spurs inspiration and new ideas come to you. And in this case, I got 6 new ideas from reinventing the original 3 beats from part 1. Okay, so let me say this about creativity before we go on. When a creative impulse comes to you, it's never a clear picture of it's something I call a partial. It's sort of like you see the dots, but not the connecting lines to the dots, all right? But as soon as that arrives at your doorstep, bam, it shoots right over to the left brain. And the left brain immediately wants to close that gap between knowledge and creativity. And in the process, there's this handshaking that goes on between the left side and the right side. It's light speed. If you could picture it, it'd be like back and forth. And this back and forth, you know, motion is the balancing that we're talking about of the brain, making the, taking the idea from being an abstract element to a tangible element. Okay, so let me show you some of the ideas I got at the drums. It started with taking from part 1 the 16ths and grouping them into 3s. Remember those? Okay. I decided that, nah, that doesn't quite work for this tempo. So I decided on another idea. This was to take 16th notes and displace them inside the bar. So it sounds something like this here. And that sets up a certain thing when you're playing it. That was the surprise. That was the surprise when I was soloing. That tom part, I knew instantly is going to replace this tom part in part 1. Because the syncopated, at this tempo, the syncopation sounds much better. So I started playing that, and here's what happened. As soon as I went to this tom-tom, I knew that that was going to be the theme, this sort of little Afro-Cuban kind of thing. Okay, so we started playing that. And next, I thought, well, okay, now the bass drums have to change because the bass drums were really syncopated before. So for everything to be kind of like syncopated, the bass drums now have to just be like quarter notes, lay it down like this here. So it went like this. And I thought, well, hey, how about if I change it to like sort of a samba bass drum? Like, what would it do to it? So I thought, here we got the samba. Then a step farther was, wait a minute, we're doing all these 16th notes. Why don't I try to play 16th notes in the bass drum to make it like beef it up? And so that would sound like this. Cool, huh? Yeah. All right. So now the bass drum. Oh, then the hi-hats. This was like too fast. So I decided, how about turning those into quarter notes, like. Something like that. And that would like sort of open it up, and at the end of that I could be. And there's where all the ideas came from. So 3 reinventions of the original beats from part 1, and 3 new ideas. 6 new ideas. 9 ideas, 2 COMAsolos. Come on, you can't tell me that's not working. All right, so let's review. COMAsoloing, brain food, chops, but mostly it's about ownership. Ownership is about accomplishing something and getting that feeling of pride. You get that feeling of pride, it leads to, you know, ownership, that feel-good thing, that like fun thing. All right. To me, ownership is the lure that to bring you to the drums because it makes your time and energy. It gives it value. Okay. They're your beats, your own beats. You own your beats. And there's no better feeling than that in the world. It's really, really good. Okay, so my suggestion is that you integrate COMAsoloing into your general practicing, and that would be, let's say, 2 or 3 times a week. You should do 20-minute sessions, maybe times 2, you know, like 40 minutes in a day, if you can give that time up. And I'm going to leave you with a question. If you had 20 minutes, only 20 minutes to practice, would you get down on your drums and open up a book or learn a beat? Or would you prefer to get on your drums and let it go? Bob Gatzen, signing off.